Hi everyone, today I'm doing some lean protein meal prep. I am going to be making meatballs and lasagna muffins and some cannoli. I'm Anita from KetogenicWoman.com, where I share keto and carnivore recipes and cooking ideas. If you're new here, please check out some of my other videos and consider subscribing. Welcome back if you've been here before. So today I'm making some meatballs as well as some other things. I just wanted to tell you the inspiration behind them. Behind the recipes I've chosen today. All this month at my mother's nursing home, it is Italy month. Every single day they get a menu that's got their dishes that they're having. They're being so creative. Yesterday was the first time that I got to take my mom to the cafeteria because she's been fairly ill the last couple of weeks, and so this was the first time I actually was able to go into the cafeteria with her, and it's all decked out like an Italian cafe. You know, they've got the red and white checkered tablecloths, they've got flags up and different sayings. It's very cute, and so I took my inspiration from that. So we have a bit of a Italian theme going here, very loosely, but so I've got these meatballs I'm going to make. Now these meatballs, I saw Daniela from StayFitness UK. She made these meatballs on her YouTube channel, and so I am going to link her video below so that you can see how she did it. So this totally came from her, this inspiration. I thought it was genius that she used protein-sparing bread as the breadcrumbs in the meatballs. I made some yesterday just to test it out, and the meatballs were very soft and juicy, so a big win there. So I'm going to start with those, and then I'm going to move on to some lasagna buns. So I've got 1 pound of extra lean ground beef in here, and I'm going to make crumbs out of a couple of slices of my protein-sparing bread to put in there. I will put directions and a little bit more information down below. So I'm going to get a couple of slices. I had a real mangled one in here. Yeah, I'll use that one. Now you can just tear up these with your hands, but I like to have smaller crumbs in mine, so I'm going to just kind of put them in this my mini food chopper, and then I get some finer crumbs that way. So that looks about right. Okay, so I'm just going to chop those up until the crumbs kind of look the consistency that I want them. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, I'm going to put my crumbs in this small bowl here. And what I want to do now is I'm going to add some Italian seasoning. Danielle said she can't get Italian seasoning, that she just uses oregano, which I thought that was interesting. But I like this Italian seasoning a lot. So I'm putting in 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning, and I'm going to use, you need a liquid to soak the seasoning up a little bit. I'm going to use chicken broth. You can use something like
Oops, shook that a little too vigorously.
You can use something like coconut milk or almond milk or milk, depending on if you're dairy free or not. Okay, so I actually want to have 110 milliliters of the liquid. Just going to pour that in here, and we'll just give it a little toss, let it soak up some liquid, and I'm going to get my ground beef back here and kind of break up the meat a bit. All right. So I also want to add a little bit of salt and pepper. I'm going to add a half a teaspoon. This is my salt and pepper mix that I make for myself. I don't put too much salt in because I always feel you can always add more salt, but you can't take away if you put in too much. So, okay, I'm going to put in my wet breadcrumbs, my moist breadcrumbs. Stir that around. There's nothing like getting your hands in there. Get it well combined. I'm going to get my hands washed and I will be right back. Okay, I'm going to make meatballs, but first I'm going to warm up my grill. I'm using my Ninja grill. To make the meatballs. It has an amazing air fryer option. Use the air fryer at 400 degrees. While I'm waiting for that to warm up, I'm going to use this ice cream scoop to make my meatballs. And you don't have to, you can totally form them with your hands. I like them all to be about the same size. So this gives it a nice uniform size. That's especially useful if you have kids or somebody.
He got a bigger meatball than me.
You know what I'm saying, right? If you've raised kids.
Make them all the same.
I think this should make 9 meatballs. 10. Just a little tiny left over.
That extra big one is mine.
Okay, we have 9 meatballs. All right, I'm going to use a spatula to put it in because it's very hot in there, so you want to be careful. I like this air fryer because it has this nice big basket. Okay. I seem to remember that took about 12 or 14 minutes yesterday, so we'll check on that in a few minutes. And I'm going to bring out the things I need for the lasagna buns. I'm going to test the temperature of the meatballs. They're looking nice and crispy around the edges. I'm sure that they are done, but I'm just going to test them just to be sure. Yes, they're over 170. That means they are well done. So I'm going to take them out now. Okay, look at these meatballs. Give them a little taste test later, but right now they're very hot. So I'm just going to leave them be. And I'm going to start my bread mixture. Okay, so now I had a bit of a dilemma. I have run out of egg white powder. I have only 1/3 of a cup of precious egg white powder here. So I am kind of adjusting this. This is not a full recipe and it's not a half recipe. I'm kind of going in between. I use less egg white powder than most people anyways. So I'm going to use 1 cup of egg whites. And I'm going to use half a teaspoon. I'm going to stick with, I use that for the full recipe, but I'm just going to use half a teaspoon of cream of tartar. And I'm just going to get this going because this takes 8 minutes. I ran out of allulose, but I have this monk fruit allulose blend. I'm using 2 tablespoons. I think 2 tablespoons is more than enough to add browning. I'm also going to add 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast flakes. So I'm going to make the cannoli filling. I bought some extra creamy ricotta cheese, and I'm using 1 cup of ricotta cheese. One teaspoon of vanilla extract. And Swerve Confectioner's sweetener. It's the powdery stuff. I'm using half a cup, but I will put it in slowly. So we're going to beat that and then just put in the Swerve while it's beating. And you don't have to beat it very long, just until smooth. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'm going to add my my 1/3 of a cup of egg white powder, which is right here. So it's time to add this in. I'm going to just lift this up. I think this should be enough. We're not making bread loaves, so it won't matter if this rises only a little. We're going to be doing lasagna buns and cannoli buns. Putting in the egg white powder, I'm just going to put it at its lowest setting. Oops. Just until it's combined. Okay. Okay, so let's get these. I'm going to do the lasagna buns first. What I have here is I have 1/2 pound, 8 ounces of extra lean ground beef mixed with 1/2 cup of Rao's sauce. I'm going to make 6 lasagna buns. I will provide the macros for this down below, and you can decide whether or not this will fit into your protein sparing or if you have to save it for a keto day. I like to put cheese on mine, and some people don't do dairy when they're doing protein sparing. So that's, you know, your choice. But I do dairy, and so I do use this recipe on protein sparing. The other thing that I want to say about the lasagna buns is you want to have a really thick bottom so that it doesn't get wet and soggy on the bottom. I made some the other day, and my bottom was too thin, so I've decided I need a thicker bottom and then just put a small cap on top. I'm going to dish out I'll wait and see about this. So I'm just going to smooth it out a little bit, make an indent. Okay, so I'm going to put in a little bit of this ground beef on here. I'm basically just going to try to divide this up evenly amongst the 6 buns as best I can. So that's the meat. And now I want to put on a little bit of ricotta cheese. There's nothing added to this. I'm just going to put a spoonful on each one. When I made the lasagna buns the other day, I didn't do this, and as I was eating a couple, I kind of thought, oh, this would have been so much better with ricotta cheese. And then I saw Daniela from StayFitness UK. She did some buns with ricotta cheese, and then I thought, okay.
She knows what she's doing.
So I decided to do that too. So please go check out her channel, where you will find those amazing meatballs we're going to try in a few minutes. So this was 1 cup in here, so about a half a cup of ricotta cheese divided amongst the 6 buns. And now I'm going to put the little top on. So I'm just going to put a much smaller cap on than I normally would because I need some of this batter for my cannoli. And I'm using that term very loosely. Anyone who has had or made cannoli before will realize that this is pretend cannoli. This is like fantasy world cannoli because, what can you do if you're trying to keep it low fat for protein sparing? I need about 2 ounces of cheese. But first I'm going to smoosh the top. I'm just going to smoosh it down a bit. And it's perfectly fine that some of this inside is showing. It's all going to get baked down and look nice and bubbly.
It's going to be great.
Okay, where's my scale? Just grabbing 2 ounces of cheese here, which is approximately 60 grams. I'm going to put this on top. I did use reduced fat mozzarella. That's your choice. And it's your choice whether you're going to use it at all. It can be no dairy. You can just leave the cheese off. You can use Parmesan instead, or any other type of cheese. Seems like 2 ounces is more than enough. And just to give it a little bit of color, I'm going to put on a little bit of Italian seasoning. Or do what Daniela does and use oregano. There you go. So now I have some dough left. Hopefully I have enough for 6 of these. I'm not sure. You have to work fairly quick with this. I can see at the bottom here it's already getting a little bit liquidy. So I'm not baking, I made some cannoli filling while this was all mixing up. I'm not baking that in there. I am just going to bake these what do you want to call them? Crusts or buns, cannoli shells, if you have a good imagination. I don't think so. I'm going to make the little well now. The oven is ready for these. And then I'm going to bake this. I'm going to check it at 20 minutes. It'll probably bake 20 to 25. Maybe these ones will be 30 minutes. But I'm going to check them. Actually, just in case I have to take out one set at a different time, I am going to put them on a separate tray. Okay, so we're going to let that bake, and I want to, while we're letting that bake, I want to try the meatballs. Oh, they look good. So, They're very good. They're meaty, and I love the breadcrumbs in them because they just add a little more texture, and the seasoning. So, I mean, just think about the things you can do with these. You could make my protein-sparing noodles, a little bit of marinara. You've got yourself spaghetti and meatballs for dinner, or fettuccine, whatever you want to call it. Noodles. You could put them on zucchini noodles and some marinara. If you're 100% carnivore, you can make like a cream sauce with this, an Alfredo type sauce. So many good things. Meatball sandwich using the protein sparing bread. There's a lot of things you can do with these meatballs. Just get creative. These are protein sparing, and the macros will be below. So we'll see you in a few minutes when the other things are ready. Okay, so here's the ones that are just plain buns. I don't really know what else to call them. I'm going to use this for my pretend cannoli. But they can be, I mean, you could use these as hamburger buns or anything like that. They are kind of coming away from the silicone, but I'm going to let them cool down a bit more. And then those lasagna buns are pretty much ready to come out any minute now too. So just going to get a rack. Put these on our rack to cool down. Okay, so these are the lasagna buns. Oh, they look so good. Whoa, hot though.
Whoops, I made a mistake here.
Those look amazing. So look at that. We've got our ground beef in there with the Rayo sauce and mozzarella, ricotta. It's gonna be great. So the only thing might be that, I mean, I didn't have very much egg white powder. I only had 1/3 of a cup. So these are potentially just not quite the texture that I usually would get. But they came out nicely. They're coming out nice. So the idea with this, now they did brown nicely. I don't have allulose yet. I'm still waiting for my shipment, but what I did get from Wholesome Yum was monk fruit allulose blend, and that's what I used in place of allulose, and it does seem to work for the browning. I was very curious about that. This just came in the mail this morning, actually. So I'm kind of happy about that, that it does do the browning. I took these out at 20 minutes, and these stayed in till 25 minutes. So they're just a little bit browner. And yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a little bit of my cannoli filling on here. And we're going to give that a taste test. Just going to put a little cinnamon on. So this is making me wish I wasn't doing protein sparing. I could probably eat 8 of them. Well, it's not cannoli, but it's a nice substitute, you know, for when you're like, it's a nice little sweet treat at the end of the meal that you could work into your macros. I'll put the macros for this below. I basically, well, you saw me make it while we were doing the mixing of the dough. It's basically ricotta cheese, a creamier version of the ricotta cheese that you can buy from the store. Apparently you can make it yourself, but I don't know if I have that kind of patience. So it's that, some vanilla, and some confectioner's swerve. And, you know, simple, but tasty. So I think that that would work for a meal for sure. If you're having some lasagna and you want a sweet little, I mean, it certainly works for my Italian theme that I had going on here. All of these things do freeze well. The meatballs, I've already got some in the freezer from the batch I made the other day. I've been freezing my pizza buns, the bread, everything seems to freeze really well. So I'm pretty happy about that. You can do all your prepping. I do want to try the lasagna bun. So, because this is, I made one the other day, but I didn't have it filled with ricotta at all. So I want to see how that is. While I'm trying to pry this out, I've had a few people ask me about this. This is a Vitamix spatula. I got it from Vitamix.com. However, you can also buy the exact same thing on Amazon. I'm going to give the link below. I have 6 of these, and I don't know if you saw me, I kept going back to the cover there. There's at least 4 or 5 dirty ones in my lovely sink over there. because they're useful for cleaning out a jar. I mean, they're, of course, if you have a Vitamix or a blender, sometimes it's hard to get those little bits out of the bottom. Amazing for that. I love it for sliding into these areas here where you're just trying to separate the bread from the silicone pan here. And it's just a multi-purpose little tool that I love. So this is still quite warm, but I am getting it out. And I do have a little bit of leakage at the bottom here. You can see the sauce in the bottom of the pan. But it smells amazing. Let's see what we have inside here. It's like a little deep dish pizza almost. Like this. I really did try to make the bottom higher so that it wouldn't leak, but a little bit of leakage there. Maybe they're not all like that, I don't know yet. That is delicious. I'm so glad that I saw Daniela adding ricotta cheese to her meat bun that she did. I think she did a meatball bun or something like that. And so please go check out her channel. I'm going to put her link below. She's actually a very creative cook for some of these dishes. I've been really impressed with the videos that I've seen. And check out Maria Emmerich, who is the queen of protein sparing. Came up with the recipe for the bread, and we're all taking it and making all kinds of crazy good things with it. That is amazing. I highly recommend trying that. This is really tasty too. I'm trying to stay away from sweet things, so I'm going to have to restrain myself. But that's okay. I will live. I'm gonna say I haven't been doing that great with it, but I have cut back. So we'll see where I am at the end of the month and what I'm going to do next month. But I really, I hope you enjoyed my little Italian theme. And if you're Italian, please don't make fun of me. I'm German, Russian. What do I know about Italians? But I do know that it's fun to try to, you know, do some of these things. And maybe I'll do a German prep one time or a Russian prep. My mom keeps bugging me to make cabbage rolls, so I'm gonna have to do something. Anyways, I'll see you at the next video. Let me come a little closer. Oh yeah. Oh. Were you a good doggy? Are you good? Yeah. Okay.
And lasagna, pizza, no. I said hi everyone before. Too many hi everyone's.
Yeah.
There are so many. What was that? It's a wrap! It's a wrap. So who is going to help me with these dishes?